Welcome to this week's edition of Bobby's Cryptid Corner. Bree, I got to tell you, that was a sexy intro.
That
was a party, man.
Was all that footage from Canva?
Could you believe it?
I thought it was all from like Goatman. That wasn't real Goatman.
No,
it was. Tonight's spooky episode for the spooky season on Bobby's Cryptid Corner is the Goatman.
And it's also the drinking word of the day. Anytime you hear goat, go ahead and everybody take a drink. We do have our drinking Brie here.
And Jamie, since you're talking, do you want to introduce replacement Tony?
Yeah, so Tony's not here right now, which is our other little hosty host, but we do have Adam here, and Adam is Bobby's co-host on Not For Everyone podcast. And we are excited to have him here because he's pretty much like a Goatman expert because he's encountered
and he loves Satan.
First time being here, never been invited before. So thanks for having me.
I mean, to be fair, would you come randomly for 2 hours and talk about a cryptid? Because I listen to Bobby's Cryptid Corner all the time.
The first half of that sentence.
You listen to Bobby's Cryptid Corner?
No. Okay, so listen. Bobby's Cryptid Corner started on Not For Everyone's podcast where Bobby had his little cryptid corner where he would talk about a cryptid. And Adam hated it. He would just complain the entire time.
That was kind of the whole bit.
That was the whole bit. And so then I was like, okay, Bobby, well, why don't you do Bobby's Cryptid Corner over here where we won't yell at you? Although now Bree does yell at him, I think, as much as Adam yelled at him.
Thank you.
And so
I love cryptids. I just hate Bobby.
I like it when people
gaslighting me.
I like it when people I love yell at me.
Everybody loves to yell at you, Bobby.
It's a theme in your life, Bobby.
Yeah.
You know this.
Thank you guys for hosting Bobby's Cryptid Corner on the Naughty Lava universe.
Are we allowed to cuss?
Oh
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. People hate you because
I love when people ask that question.
You're kind
of can't say that though.
I don't know if you can say the C word on the internet. I don't know.
He's like, what is it?
Well, fuck.
I do have a message from Tony before we start, so we're gonna.
Well, it would appear
already got fired
that I have somehow ended up in the desert. Still looking for that cryptid.
Well, Tony, is Tony supposed to be back next week?
Next week.
Yeah.
He'll be back next week.
Well, in the meantime, let's do a few shout outs. Enzo's here, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank
now we
God.
can do the episode.
Last week we were like, what the
Do you guys know Beyond Jim's Skin? Because that's a great name.
Welcome.
I don't think so. So welcome indeed. He came in with enthusiasm and I thought that was dope. I was like, did someone just change their screen?
I like his creepy serial killer name.
I just like, I didn't think about that.
I like this. You can't say it. I love that.
Janet's here. Laura's here.
Hey,
David's
Janet.
Here.
Welcome,
Chad
everybody.
Smith podcast. Wally's World 420. Hell yeah. That guy's getting fucked up right
Brown
now.
Dwarf. We need
David,
to do
I said David Martin. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, Brown Dwarf just showed up.
Yeah,
So
hi, all 14 of you.
Adam, this is pretty familiar with the size of our audience on the Not For Everyone podcast.
I'm used to this. I love it.
We can handle this. We're not playing Shea Stadium right now.
Yeah. Hitting it out of the park, Bobby. Hitting it out of the park.
Perfect. All right, so let's get into you guys. Let's get into the Goatman.
Goatman.
Drink. Oh, we're in a car this time. I love this.
Subaru.
Ooh,
we're in my car.
We're your Subi. Yeah, I love that. Skirt.
You have like the hood scoop and the.
No, I lied.
Yeah.
I don't have the fin in the back, but yeah, of course. Except this is an STI. I don't have an STI. I just have a WRX, but it looks just like that. I have all that baloney.
No, Adam, do you have any STDs?
No. None of them sound fun to me.
Not yet.
You get a shot for that. You're good. You'd be good.
You good, exactly.
I think this picture will make sense as we start to learn about the Goatman a little bit.
Ooh,
and I figured if we had to peel away, there's no better car out of the four of us than mine.
That's probably true.
That's probably true because I know that Bobby drives something old. I drive a Ford.
I drive a 2010 F-150.
I drive
Adam, tell everyone what you drive.
I drive a clown car.
I was gonna say clown car.
Actually, it's a little Suzuki from 2011. They don't make Suzukis anymore. And one of my friends pointed out to me this the kind of car that whenever you watch like footage from the Middle East where there's terrorists driving around,
That's what they're driving.
They're driving my car.
Wow.
Yes, you have
Wow.
There might be a underneath.
Suzuki Mujahideen
Is that right?
edition.
Whatever. Yeah, the preferred
Love
vehicle of the Mujahideen. Love it.
All right, let's get into it, Bree. Where does the cryptid come from?
I don't know why this happens to me. I'm sorry, you guys. So the Goatman, we have realized once we started to do this that, oh my gosh, I mean, that list could have gone on, but I didn't have time to add everything.
Yeah.
But
I would say that each one of these things you see under may also could be an entire episode of Bobby's Cryptid Corner. So we're just going to get into the treetop overview of specifically the Goatman, but also a little bit about Sheep Squatch, a little bit about mythological origins of this thing.
Wait,
and then
Sheep Squatch is a thing? That's awesome.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Adam, since you're the new guy here, why don't you go ahead and describe the description to us?
Describe it. Am I reading? What do you want me to do?
Well,
Go ahead and read.
there's your bullet points. You make something fun out of it.
Shut up, Bobby. Here's the description of the Goatman. Half man, half goat. Hybrid or goat humanoid. Known to have horns, claws, 7 feet or taller, sometimes holding an axe. Makes high-pitched goat-like screaming sounds. Awful smell.
Always the awful
Winky,
smell
winky.
with the cryptids.
Now,
Always
one
the-
thing-
Mhm.
One thing worth bringing up about the Goatman is this is one of those beautiful junctions of a cryptid, a supernatural / demonic entity, an urban legend, a ghost story. It's like everything. So there's a wide spectrum and variety of the Goatman lore, and we're gonna just kind of glaze through all of it. Location would be primarily Louisiana, Maryland, Kentucky, Texas. The Sheep Squatch is known for West Virginia, which is not listed here, which is fine because this is about the Goatman, not the Sheep Squatch.
Hey, I said and more.
And more. South Africa is part of it.
Really?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I just
shit, and I forgot to add Mexico. There's also see, there's just so
clear. There's definitely a
He's
Cabrito
freaking
man.
everywhere. He's everywhere.
There is a Yucatan Goatman. So okay, I really want this to be a part
You said
2
and
if
more.
you guys are down. If you guys are down, I do want this to be a part 2 because I didn't get into Baphomet, and I just want him to have his own episode.
Oh yeah, I love Baphomet, but I think Baphomet's different.
Send my shirt, man.
Right. And a couple things I want to kind of throw out there as we get into this is look for common tropes and motifs with other cryptid behavior, like with Bigfoots, and then also your typical ancient archetype type behaviors here, like the Pan or the Satyr or the Baphomet, which we'll kind of glaze into as well. Now, Adam, you are not necessarily going to be able to stay this whole time.
No, I ain't got time.
One of the reasons we brought you on is because you grew up in New Braunfels, Texas?
Yes.
And they have their own Goatman there. Is that correct?
So,
shoot.
should I get into the whole story? You want to hear the whole?
Yeah, absolutely.
shebang?
Yeah, then you can leave if you want.
I'll leave when I damn well please. So,
Reverse
the
psychology.
Goatman in New Braunfels. This goes back to my elementary school years. I hope my son's door is open so he can hear all the true horrible facts I'm about to tell you. When I was a little kid, and I go to my elementary school, which is right down the street from my house. It was like a block walk, right? There was a weird, creepy old house across the street from the elementary school. Like you couldn't see where the driveway was. It was all, there's a big fence and there was all bushes. And the house just looked abandoned and old and freaky. Now, for whatever reason, all of us at my school, Carl Schurz Elementary School, the word on the street, it was well known that was the Goatman's house. That was the Goatman's. He lived there. Nobody knew the Goatman. Nobody saw the Goatman, but we all know that's where the Goatman was. So there was hours of trepidation in my youth walking near the Goatman's house, which once again was like a block and a half from my house. So it was real freaking close, So hearing the Goatman there, I talked to my other friends as I got older, and they're like, nah, the Goatman's in San Antonio, or the Goatman's over there, or the Goatman's over here. I just said a lot on purpose. So get drunk, babies. So in Texas, Central Texas, the San Antonio, Austin area, the Goatman's a very prevalent thing.
Wait, what you cut out there? What's a prevalent thing?
The Goatman is a very, very prevalent mannish goat.
So it's like a half man, half goat making the
Goatman. So let's flash forward 10, 12 years. And this is where it gets interesting. Okay. So I have a friend of mine by the name of Matt Miller. Matt Miller is in my band Trump Card to this very day. Listen to my band Trump Card. Everybody listening, there's the obligatory plug. So I've known this guy for 25 years. Matt is not the guy that just like makes up random shit. You know, he doesn't.
Is this the Matt I know?
Yeah, you know Matt. He's not a bullshit artist like me. Okay, because I will make up ridiculous stories that sound totally believable when I just made it all up.
That's why you're on.
I know
Bobby's
someone
Cryptid
just
Corner.
like that.
That's why I'm here. So one night when me and Matt had an apartment in New Braunfels, he had to drive to his job at the gas station to drop off his girlfriend. And so we live in the hill country of Texas, which means there's a lot of hills. We're not hillbillies per se, but there's a lot of hills around here. So he's driving towards the highway to get on to go to the gas station. And he looks over to the right and he sees walking down the street, bathed in the street lamps, and this is like midnight or whatever because they work the night shift. What was the giant outline of an over 7 foot tall horned man, like a giant Pan, like a satyr, like Baphomet, like a goat man. Okay, he saw this goat man while he was driving, and so he thinks of, he's like, wow, that's messed up. Did that really happen? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm high. We smoked a lot of weed back then. Don't do that anymore. But when he was coming back after dropping his girlfriend off or whatever, he looks over and he looks down that street and doesn't see it. And he's like, okay, cool. He looks down the next street and there's the goat man walking closer to the street that he's on. Now, at this point, Matt Miller, my buddy, my pal, and my best friend.
Yeah, say his last name.
Loses his shit. Dude, there's like 8 billion Matt fucking Millers in the world, okay? Nobody.
Right.
Hauls anyway. Back to our apartment. And he comes up like white as a ghost. Like this dude's like half Polynesian or something. He's real tan. He's like tanner than me. And I have like a nice golden brown that you can see. He's way tanner than me. And this dude was just pale as a sheet. And I'm like, bro, what's going on? He's like, I just saw the fucking goat man. Drink, all of you.
Okay. So this isn't like, this is kind of secondhand from Matt, but you were also there the night he saw the goat man.
I was there when he got back and was sweating and was freaked out. And like, I would totally do something like, I would just make something up and run in the house and be like, oh my God, did you see that wombat? It almost got me, you know?
Yeah.
And for fun.
We'll tell your armadillo story another day.
Huh?
We'll tell your armadillo story.
Yeah, the armadillo and the raccoon with the samurai sword, that's a whole different story. But no, this really happened, and this really freaked my buddy out. And the weird thing is, like, in this area in Texas,
why aren't we interviewing him?
Because you didn't fucking call him, Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby.
Jesus, you want me to call Matt? He's in bed, you piece of shit. So the thing is, in this part of the world,
if you like this energy, not for everyone podcast.
He froze up.
I think it's because we're talking. Also, you notice every time we talk, it cuts him out. So let's try to mute ourselves, maybe.
I don't think he's hardwired.
He's not. He's on his phone.
What a great freeze frame.
I know. I love it.
Hold on a second.
We'll see if he comes back.
Don't you think if we add horns, he'll look like Goatman?
Yeah, for sure.
He does have that beard. Hold on, I'm gonna call him.
He looks a little bit like Tony.
He's ew, no, what?
Yeah, because they have the beard. They're both white and round faced.
What happened?
No.
What happened? Are you coming back?
Have a round face.
I don't know. I just got booted.
No, you're frozen.
You're frozen.
Let's boot him out and then have him come back.
We're gonna kick you out, and then you hit that link again.
Okay.
Okay.
That was excellent timing, though.
Yeah. I mean, you finished your story, sort of. This is a cliffhanger. I gotta go.
We're live on the internet.
Cliffhanger. I gotta go.
Shout out to Vanessa who just showed up. Hides in long grass.
She did not just show up.
She's been
Shout out
here.
to Janet who just showed up.
Oh,
Spooky's
man.
here. Is Enzo still here?
He
Renee
is.
Cruz is here.
Yeah.
I love that. Lips purse for Jesus.
Okay. So actually, since we have time, I did star Hides in Long Grass's comment earlier
Okay, go
that
for
said
it.
Goatman and Maryland Haunts Crybaby. Oh, okay, we'll talk about it later.
I
got you. Bam. Oh. There you go.
don't know
Okay.
what happened, but I think it was definitely the fucking Goatman. That just
Yeah.
Ooh,
booted-
probably. Ooh.
booted my ass out of this whole shebang. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Is
I
that
love it.
okay? So is there was the Goatman in your town, like, was that a known cryptid of the area?
Everybody knows about it. Everybody knew about it. Like, again, my elementary school knew about it. Matt didn't go to my elementary school. He knew about it, right? Everybody in town, my friends now from that town, all know about New Braunfels Goatman. Where that story originated, I don't know, but Matt fucking saw it, and that's crazy to me. So again, out of all the people, Bobby, if you told me a story like that, I'd be like, "You're full of shit." I would prove you wrong. But I actually,
Thank you for that. Okay.
no problem, pal, no problem.
It's all right.
Remember
We
that
all
time
have
you
friends.
saw a green comet, and you're like, it's an
Well, don't hate on.
alien.
Listen, he got
It
a
wasn't.
crystal. He got a crystal, and then he saw something in the sky.
Yeah.
He thought that it correlated. We talked him through it.
And
it.
also, one thing I did.
He's frozen
gone. He's
again.
gone now. He's gone.
Oh, there we
he
go.
is.
There
Okay.
it is.
One thing about my UFO story outside my house, and I did accept your skepticism and explanations quite.
He's not. Okay.
We can't hear
we can't
you.
hear you.
It's
doesn't-
okay. Can you hear us?
All right, he's gone.
Goodbye.
He's
Aw.
gone now. That man's gone now.
He
Anyway, I
is.
don't have
He's
to
like, I'm
explain
over it.
myself about my green UFO now that
Yeah,
he's gone.
Jesus. Hating out here. And listen, if you like that energy and you like Adam and you like him yelling at Bobby, that is literally Not For Everyone podcast. So go and subscribe, everyone.
He just texted me. Well, that was fun.
I think he would do great here. Maybe occasionally, if he has something he wants to talk about, that'd be great. If he has
Tell him
like
to
a
get a
laptop,
He's a naysayer.
Time to get a computer.
He's a naysayer.
we're all naysayers.
I know it's
sometimes.
kind of early in the episode, but I really have. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, let me address.
The comment. Yeah.
Oh, what happened here?
I removed him.
No, I was talking about my bangs. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Hides in long grass. So he's saying Goatman in Maryland haunts Crybaby Bridge, twice the legend for your money. So originally I did add the entire Crybaby Bridge thing to this presentation I have. And then the more I started looking into it, it appears that it is not the same exact bridge as the one that it's being linked to.
Yeah.
But it does appear that there are many bridges that have the same type of weird paranormal instance where like you hear a baby crying, or there's like a woman looking for her baby if you pretend you have a baby, or you just yell that you have a baby, that she appears, that you hear things. So maybe the same cry from a baby is there on that bridge, because that seems to be something that other cryptids and paranormal entities do.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't find concrete, like, this is Crybaby Bridge. It kept coming up for a different state, so I didn't add that.
Gotcha.
Like when I get too questionable, if there isn't something that's like super
solid,
if you can't look something, and if it's not super solid, or I can't find multiple sources for it, I just hesitate to put it in, because I don't want to just like
say shit,
spread a bunch
something.
of So that's the only reason why that's not in there. So at least you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so look out for other things though. You just mentioned, Bree, the similar tropes with like ghosts, the bridge motif. There's also, like you mentioned, the crying woman or a crying child. There's also red eyes He's a smelly guy. The Goatman's a smelly guy.
Goatman.
Which again, smelliness, a lot of times it's described as rotten eggs, which is basically sulfur. Perhaps sulfur is some sort of conduit of the other dimension.
The other side.
The other side.
For sure.
I don't know.
For sure.
But here's I think that's one of the most terrifying thing about the Goatman is that he wields an axe. This is not a peaceful, fun-loving cryptid in the woods that you can play frisbee with or throw sticks at and they go fetch. Like what you guys did in California recently. It wasn't like a game of grab ass with a Bigfoot. These guys are like dog murdering, livestock killing, axe wielding devil things.
Yeah.
Now there's a few incarnations of the Goatman dependent on the location.
Texas.
Now we just learned about the New Braunfels Goatman from Adam, who abruptly left, which was just a little teaser for the Texas Goatman. Now, one thing about the Texas Goatman in this particular case we're about to get into, it's not even a half man, half goat, right?
I think
this is one of the more of the ghost story.
There's two instances for Texas in this.
But the Alton Bridge Goatman Bridge is not a physical goat, half man.
Oh,
right?
shit. Okay. We'll have to Rochambeau on that one.
I could be wrong, but when I was researching this, it was more about a creepy ghost story of a former goat farmer.
Right, it is, yeah.
So, go ahead.
Oh, just let me know if you ever want me to read. Or you go.
You go ahead. You're good.
Okay. So we're gonna get into like Bobby said, it is the old Alton Bridge. And I'm so glad you mentioned earlier the bridge motif. I actually didn't realize this until I started putting this slide together. And then I was like, whoa. So there's something interesting here, and I hope that we get to discuss it at the end of the episode. So in Denton, Texas. Oh, what?
I was just going to say, think about the Billy Goat's gruff.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a fairy tale. It's like a old thing that they say about when you go to cross the bridge, it lives under.
It's one of the trolls under the bridge, and the goats go over the bridge. Anyway, all right, never mind.
Oh shit! No one taught me that.
It's just a fun connection I made just now.
Yeah,
take it away.
So this bridge was built in 1884. So we already have some history here. It's now a completely vacant town. The only thing that is left is the cemetery and a church, and the church is on the cemetery grounds. The cemetery, the graves there go back to 1852, and it is listed. It is listed, registered in the National Register of Historic Places in July. So they closed the traffic off to this bridge, where before you could come to and fro to the town, and now you cannot drive through it. It is only accessible if you're a pedestrian and you're just walking. So it has become a hot spot. I feel like every single paranormal YouTube channel, people that go out there and do paranormal investigations, has been to this location. I have seen some pretty cool videos. So if you guys are interested in that, I would absolutely look that up.
Yeah, and having researched the Goatman for this episode, I didn't even know about. I live in Texas. I've never heard of this before, and it's definitely. I'm in those parts pretty regularly. I'm definitely gonna.
I don't know why you should freaking go, and
yeah,
I'm gonna go tomorrow. I'm just gonna call in sick. I'm sick as I'm driving to the Goatman Bridge.
I got a goat disease,
and then I'll take this exact picture and then get in my car and drive 3.5 hours.
Yes.
So the story goes as so. There was a African-American man by the name of Oscar Washburn. And now he just lived near the bridge, okay? But he was a goat farmer, and the locals ended up nicknaming him the Goatman. And so much so that he embraced the nickname and posted a sign on the bridge that said, "This way to the Goatman for business." The local
bucks.
white supremacist clans were not into this at all. So this is a 1938. I would definitely call this a hate crime. Can I get a hate crime?
Is this a hate crime?
Hardcore hate. I kind of
We'll
want
hate
that
crime in a
crime.
minute.
Bobby's Cryptid Corner intro. I love that song. Okay, sorry.
It's so good.
So the perpetrators of the hate crime drove over the bridge without headlines on this, and surprised Oscar.
Headlights are a big deal here.
Yeah, it's true actually. We'll get to that in a second. They drug him out of his home and they hung him on the bridge. They returned to his home to kill the rest of his family. Only the rope was left on the bridge. Oscar's body was nowhere to be found. Now, Bree, do you want to read that red text there for me?
It is said, ever since this horrible day, supernatural occurrences started not only at the bridge, but the surrounding forest. So just to recap, this poor man who was just out there selling the goats, doing the good old goat biz,
And just being
trying to help
a
people.
person of melanin.
You want some goat milk? What do you need? Or just hang out with the goats? I mean, they give anyone pleasure just looking at them, in my opinion.
Goats?
Yeah, I love goats.
Have you seen the Bon Jovi goat video?
No.
Oh man, it's so good.
So yes, because he was like, "Hey, this way to the Goatman," they freak out and they're like, "Nope, not cool." Showed up at his house because they didn't have the headlights on the car. Surprise, motherfucker! Pulled him out, hung him, went back, killed his family. They came back on the bridge and they're like, "Wait, how come only the noose is left? Where's the body?"
It's gone. It
dun,
turned into the Goatman.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Totally. So this is probably, I would say, our one and only more of a ghost. Well, yeah, it's our only hate crime, thankfully, of the day.
Yeah.
But it's our only dabbling into the ghostly side of things. Now, again, keep in mind a lot of this Goatman lore. It just runs the gamut of the entire high strangeness world, from a flesh and blood cryptid, a ghost, ancient mysteries, ancient archetypes, and things like that, and urban legend. So
Look at that, now creepy.
look at that bridge. That's like a Thomas Kincaid painting right there.
It's a
For
very.
sure.
I would love to paint that.
The painter of
You should, Bree. The Goatman Bridge.
We should.
Oh, you can't do that. Let's go through some just common reports, some consistencies here with these accounts. Half man, half goat, a chimera, if you will, a goat hybrid. I think it's even in the is it the Poplick monster, the one that is said to have been? No, that's the circus freak one. There's one. There's one where like a mad scientist made it.
Right. I think that's that one. I'm guessing.
Poplick. Okay.
I think it is Poplick.
Okay. Okay. So apparition of a man herding goats, sometimes carrying a goat's head. So again, this is your Goatman of. Is this the account, the common reports of the Goatman of Denton, Texas, of the bridge, or is this just everything, Bree?
This is the bridge and then the surrounding forest areas.
Okay. So we do have a half man.
That's why it's a fucking crazy area. So yeah, the common report is that people are seeing a half man and a half goat, kind of similar to Adam's story about your friend Matt Miller. He just saw a giant goat man. So that's what people are also seeing there.
Okay. In a lot of this that's being reported, you hear about in these other accounts of the Goatman. Mysterious lights. We see that in Bigfoot. We see that obviously in UFOs. We see it in spook lights. We see it in ghosts. Mysterious lights, orbs, if you will.
Like spook lights.
Spook lights, red eyes. It also reported with the Goatman, and Tony's in the chat right now, but for some reason can't be on the show. But okay, that's fine. The sound of water splashing in the creek below and the sound of a monstrous growling. I mean, I don't want to be Captain Skeptic here, but that could be a lot of things. But hey,
maybe not the growling. I mean, I've heard the growling even on different EVPs. That's unexplainable. I mean, if it was like a normal growling, like maybe there's a do boars growl?
I don't know.
Or they just like snort.
That's a Tony question. He's not
That's a
here
Tony
right
question.
now.
That's for the
They
farm boy.
definitely make a snorty guttural sound. I'm trying to find the link.
That wasn't it.
Did you guys hear that?
That was
Yeah, that's Bree.
That wasn't it. My bad. I was like,
okay. Hey, Tony, it's in the group chat.
Splashing in the water.
I just sent it to your Discord too.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Tony's.
I sent it to him already.
Figure out how to do that.
Okay.
I already did.
Splashing in the water can and can't make sense. I think it probably depends on the year. The picture that we saw does have water running through it, but I believe there have been times of the year where the lake is or the creek is dried up. So if you heard water splashing around while the creek is dried up, then that is highly paranormal. But if there's water in the creek, it could be a duck, bathing itself.
Could be a beaver.
Oh, for sure.
It could be a Loch Ness monster just minding its own business.
It could be a different cryptid.
Yeah. But the growling is strange, and people hear the low growls, or when they're captured on EVPs. I think that's even more sus.
Now, cars unlocking and locking, car alarms going off, car failure. I'm assuming some interruptions in radio. I get a lot of UFO vibes from this. Is that fair to say?
It's just paranormal in general.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a high, what I assume. Or I should just say, what I assume just off of all the information that we've gathered over the years. I feel like paranormal energy might register highly, maybe even on a different frequency than we're used to.
Yes.
And that high amount of energy and strange, even might be enough to cause cars, radios, any type of electrical equipment to kind of go haywire.
Yeah.
So it's not just UFOs, it's ghosts, it's other cryptids as we're seeing it. So there's obviously a thread there. The only thing I can link is energy.
It's almost like it's not the entity itself. It's the circumstances that are required for those entities to appear.
We're taking another break.
Taking a break. Who do we have here? What's going on, traveler?
Look at those archways. Gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Look at these.
Are you at a Senior Frogs?
Thank God I've never been
to Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville?
My Lord have mercy.
Yes.
He's in the middle of another country.
This is like...
You have excellent video quality right now.
It's almost like you're phoning in from another country. He's gone now. He's gone. We lost.
Listen, this is why we have a rule that people can't have phones when they want to be on our show, because this is what happens.
We have a rule, but it's really just
a phone.
An inside idea.
Ooh,
Michael, Adam was just here. You missed him. I'm talking to Michael.
I'm back.
Okay, hello.
Tell your wife we said hi. I hope you guys
them,
get
y'all.
special massages.
Will do.
Yeah, I hope you make a lot of love.
Oh my God.
Well,
oh my God.
I'll tell you what. This place is awesome. First of all.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Second of all, We have traveled like 4,500 miles in the last 4 days,
That's
Oh, shit.
man.
all over the place.
Are you tired?
But because, yeah, we had a flight today. We spent 8 hours on the road yesterday. We spent 5 hours on a tour the day before. We were in a plane the day before that all day.
I'm not gonna lie though, Tony, you look glowing. You are glowing.
You look tired as
It's
fuck.
It's the food.
Peruvian water.
I am.
You know he's
No,
tired,
don't
but he's
drink
also glowing. Like your skin has
Yeah,
never
he's
looked
like
so
sun
good.
tired. He's not like me, booze.
Oh, look at that
booze induced.
smile. Look at that
Yeah.
smile.
So I just wanted to pop in, let everybody know that everything's going great out here. I got some
Yay.
good footage that I am getting that we're going to put together an awesome video that you're going to see probably not next week, but the week after, because I have to edit it, put everything together.
Is it
Got a
paranormal
bunch of-
shit?
we want to see it all.
It's.
I want to
it's
see the
like, it's
toilets
crazy.
and everything.
Yeah, all of it. Show us every little detail.
There's going to be videos of Machu Picchu. We're going to look at like the architecture and like how it was built, stuff like that,
Love
from
that.
a first-hand experience.
Get some videos of the hotel bar too.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
And
Make
some
me
videos of your
drool.
wife.
Yeah. Well, she's walking by. She's got her.
Hi, darling.
Nice.
You look stunning.
How are you?
We're so good. We're so excited for you guys. Tony says you guys are having so much fun.
It's amazing.
I'm
I
so
highly
jealous.
recommend.
Next time we'll
The
all go together. As a
exchange
big...
rate is amazing.
we all have to go together next time. We have to plan a big trip somewhere so we can all go.
For people
So
that
this
don't
is-
know, where are you guys?
We are
This
in
is funny.
Peru. So we're in Cusco, Peru, and she's got a baby llama. She's wearing a baby llama.
Oh, get it. I love it.
Hmm.
Don't worry, Bree. They didn't kill it. They just shaved it.
Yeah, I'm a little
If they didn't
sus.
kill it, it
I'm a
doesn't
little
count.
bit sus on that situation, but I
She's
will
like-
keep to myself.
I think they're gone now. It's
Oh
frozen.
no, Tony, you froze again. He had such good video there for a hot second.
PETA said no. PETA shut that shit down right now, real quick.
You said no. No, Tony.
All right,
Oh,
well, we'll get
it's
back
gone.
to our regular scheduled program.
All right, we'll get back to it.
We are at the abandoned cars.
Abandoned cars, missing passengers. That's got some, there's some
Sketch.
consistencies with missing peoples in these kind of situations. Now, one thing about cars that's not on here that just reminds me of goats in general is there's a lot of accounts in which the Goatman like jumps up on the hood of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, vibes. Okay.
Which
Asserting his
anytime-
dominance.
Anytime you go to like an old farmhouse that has goats and there's like a rusty old automobile out there
They're standing on top of it. Listen,
with
goats.
weeds growing out of the tire wells.
I
there's
can't
goats
wait
are-
to have my own goat.
Goats are climbers. They like to get on things. They're like the people are like they're like the thing that invented parkour. Like that's what goats do. So if they
Yeah,
see
neat.
something that they can jump on, they're like their instinct is to be
Yeah.
like bloop up there.
Yep.
I don't
yep,
know if we brought
that's
this
me
up
right
a
there.
few episodes ago, but what is it? Is it Planet Earth, the one about the animals?
Yeah.
Sure.
There's another one though. I don't know. It's one of the Life. Maybe it was Life. I don't know. But it was
all
in like those West African like mountain, or no, they're like in Afghan. They're in the Middle East, I think.
I know you're talking
know.
about the goats. Yeah.
The
The
they
goats
climb
that
up on
like
the
live
cliffs.
on the cliff. They're on like 90-degree cliffs because they have like
Mhm.
hooves
Mhm.
that can let them do that. It's
Yeah. Wild. It's wild.
Also,
Exactly.
that's how we get Moroccan oil because the goats eat the I forgot the name of the fucking thing that they eat. God damn it. Anyway, they eat the shit and boom, squeeze it out. We got Moroccan oil.
Squeeze
I
out
don't
of the goats.
They
out of the
have
poo.
to digest it.
Oh, out of the poo. I thought you meant you were killing the goats. I was like, oh, Brie.
You think anyway.
So let's throw another
Fuck.
wrench of possibility into these gears. The bridge in Denton, Texas is obviously a hot spot for satanic cult rituals.
up, buddy?
People find upside down crosses. Now, this is kind of a chicken or the egg situation, though, right? It's like, well, there's
Yeah.
the legend of the Goatman thing. The Goatman is affiliated with the Baphomet. The Baphomet is the devil. Perhaps this legend attracted these cults, or did the cults, bring the bad vibes and energy originally before this gentleman was murdered down there, and it was just kind of a perfect storm of a spooky bridge.
But I also
I'm
feel
gonna say
like
it's
too,
the
like
murder and the goats.
when there's a spot that has a lot of paranormal activity, I feel like people who could possibly be satanic or in satanic cults would probably flock to that kind of area, because you associate the paranormal with some version of like dark magic or like the other veil. So like you're reaching out to it's like their religion. So I think that it's a little bit of all of that. I think that because it was a goat man and because it was killed in that area, which lines up with a lot of satanic cult belief, they went there. You know what I mean? So I think that it was kind of like, it's a little bit of a cause and effect kind of a situation, what you're talking about, this perfect storm of things. It just, if they would have murdered a little girl, I think that the satanic cult could have also possibly mixed that into being, like an area that they did things in. I just think it's just so happened to be the goat. And so that's what's becoming associated with that area now.
Sure.
I'm gonna say it was like almost like a sacrifice in a sense. He died. There was the goat. It creates the strange energy. Cults hear about it, and
they're like,
it
this
was
place
almost
was
like that
magic.
sacrifice is already done just to get in there.
Totes.
The energy is charged.
Totes your goats. Oh God, I really don't know how much I can do this.
Totes my goats.
Look how creepy that thing is. So these are some more common accounts of people who investigate the bridge and the forest.
Now there's different ways you can summon the Goatman of this Goatman's bridge. You can honk the horn 3 times. And the other thing is you can knock. You can knock 3 times. Knock 3 times. You can knock
on
3
the
times
wood.
on the wood. And this goes back to the thing we talk about all the time about like you have to actively invite these things in a lot of times. Black-eyed kids, vampires, conjuring demons with a Ouija board.
You're invoking them in some way. Exactly.
Yes. It's almost like that realm cannot come over here, as fluidly as it like to without some sort of permission from someone on this side of things.
So yeah, you drive on that bridge without your headlights on, you're danger. Because that's what happened when the original Oscar, the original Goatman, that's how he died. They showed up with their headlights on, like,
so that enrages him when he sees it. Yeah.
Now you guys are probably more sensitive than I am with kind of you're more clairvoyant, I guess is the word.
Okay.
Is that fair to say?
Different clairvoyant is seeing.
Okay.
So there's different clairs, but yeah, okay.
I feel like you guys would have a stronger
we're a little bit more in tune.
Intuition feeling with this kind of stuff. So that said, it says, those who visit often feel a very sinister energy to the point where blah blah blah. To the point where their intuition tells them to get the fuck out immediately.
So many times.
My question to you would be, do you feel like that happens even without knowing the history of the area before arriving there?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that it's also inherent. So like, let's just talk about for a second, like when people talk about their like abduction or alien encounters that they have, right? A lot of times the first thing they say is that they're terrified. Like they feel terrified. So if you just take that kind of experience that we've read a lot about and we've researched a lot about and apply it to cryptids, you would imagine if you're somewhere and you feel something, your first instinct is to get terrified, whether that be there's an actual presence there or you show up and you feel uncomfortable. Your first kind of instinct is to feel fear. So I think that that's just natural kind of all the way around, paranormal or not. You know what I mean?
So yeah, and so a lot of these accounts and these locations always are, tied with some sort of tragedy that happened. So it's almost like when you walk into a room and it's like really tense, like you can feel in the air, like
Exactly.
people have been arguing or something like that. It's almost like that, only that energy like resonates for generations, or like it's stuck there.
Deep,
for sure.
deep. So like so I'll just give you, I guess, an example sort of. For me, the people use the word empath. For me, it goes deeper, and it's like a severe clairsentience where like I will feel almost like I get my information or knowledge sometimes just based off of the energy. Like the energy is an information, and then it'll feel like a download of that. And a lot of it has to do with feeling. And so I have instances where if I go somewhere like that, it's like a get out or a help, but it's mainly just like the energy that is there at the time has so much information in it that it's like overwhelming. And that's why I have the need to flee.
Yeah, that
And
it happened
so
to her
that's
when
a
we were in
little bit
California.
different.
So it's more like you're not necessarily like fearing for your life. It's just like really overwhelming.
No, it's like a
negative
deep
energy.
it's like a deep feeling that's like
You're
this
like,
is
I
negative
prefer
and you're
not
in
to
danger.
feel this right now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like you're in danger. And so like I added this because I've watched many other YouTubers and stuff that go and do these things. And then I started watching some more recently because we were going to do this episode. And I realized that all these other paranormal investigators that go and do other investigations that are already like knee deep in other paranormal activity and they still stick around, that these people that were, you know, like I said, like commonly going through these crazy paranormal experiences. So like just fear, that's not the instance here. It's more like their instinct is like get out because something bad can happen to them. And so every video I've seen, it's like something happens where they're like, I just need to get the fuck out. Like just we have to go. It's not a like, well, I'm scared and it's like creepy and it's an old man's bridge.
It's almost like next
These are
level.
experienced people that are like, we need to go. There's something here. So to me, that's like a different type of energy of just like basic paranormal where it could just be, you know, like a past person. I think there's something that takes that energy up a notch when there's a darker undertone to it, possibly even evil.
That's what I was laughing at.
It is bad. You know, like maybe that I think that those are two different situations. It's feeling like something's paranormal and it's spooking you. And then it's feeling an energy where something's dark.
Yeah.
And that darkness, when it's overwhelming, is what makes you feel like I need to get out.
So do you think
Not
that
just like, oh, there's ghosts,
do
you
you
know?
think that like past tragedies or like intense fear or like whatever awful thing happened at a given location, is it that energy that resonates there, or is that energy invites darker energy to like
It's both.
Both, I
It's
would think.
both. There's going to be residual energy of something, any instance that there's something extremely traumatic. It's like that energy pierced through what else is there, and it's staying. It's like an anchor.
Yeah.
And then of course, like attracts like, and it'll continue. And in severe cases, that's when portals open. And then if you have a spot, like in this case, where you have people constantly visiting because they know the background, they know the lore about it, and they go, they get scared, and then they tell the story to other people.
Perpetuate
you just
it.
have so much new, fresh energy coming and
Going
feeding
into-
that open portal or that situation. And it just gets bigger and bigger. And then that's also how it sustains itself.
That's almost like akin to, are you guys familiar with like spiritual mapping?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like people like go out and fucking cleanse areas and shit because there's dark energy there and they can
For
sense
sure.
it. And it usually does have something to do with some awful shit that happened. Like you
It's
said,
always
I'm
that.
putting all this together. I'm sorry I have to go to the bathroom again.
It's okay. We'll wait here for you.
I don't want to go to the next ones without him here. We'll give
Okay.
a taste and then we'll then we'll hide.
Ooh. You removed your whole thing, just so you know.
Oh no.
No.
Okay, I'll add it again.
No, ma'am. No.
And Zoe's like, again?
Again. Hey guys, y'all are amazing. By the way, thank you.
This is definitely
We
a
love
spot that
you.
I would love to go to, no matter what.
I was like, I'm low key thinking about camping there, but then I'm also thinking about how fucking terrifying it's gonna be when that thing is standing outside of our tent at 2:00 in the morning, and I'm like, do we want to do that again?
I mean, I always walked towards whatever was scary.
You did.
What I don't like is peeing alone, which you're gonna have to like do the girls thing and do that more because I held my pee more than I would normally.
I know you. Bree likes me to pee with her. She likes me
Jamie
to
is the only
stand.
female in my entire life.
Is this the OnlyFans you guys are talking
And
about?
people that I know that doesn't go with girls to go pee. Like it's
Yeah, I'm
always
just
like, all
like-
right, we gotta go. It's like she doesn't understand that's how you
Now,
do
let me
it.
ask you, let's go on that
No.
side tangent for a second. What happens in those? Do you guys check in on the situation?
No,
Usually
she's
when
like,
she
"I
makes
have
me go with
pee."
her, she like talks to me.
Yeah, I'm
Like
just
I
talking about
literally
girls
just
in
stand there
general.
as she pees. No, that's literally that's all it is. It's just
Okay.
we go and then I watch her pee and then she washes
Maybe
her
it's
hands
some
and we walk back to
deeply
the table.
rooted, like protective instinct thing.
I just think she likes to have a buddy
Or, like-
with everything she does.
It's not me. It's literally every single female besides Jamie.
Yeah,
Except
yeah.
me.
Like I'll
Mhm.
go in like with like sometimes like 5 fucking people all crowd in the bathroom.
I'm good.
Talk.
Guys like
You
to play
hit the
swords
vape.
sometimes.
Ew. Okay.
I try to watch Corey pee and he always gets mad at me.
All
Why
right,
did
let's
you-
talk about the Goatman
I
again.
don't know. Bring it back up, yeah. And drink.
Okay,
Bring it
so
back
this
up.
is going to be a couple of pictures that I found that are like sus pictures.
Okay.
You guys can see how you feel about it.
So I'm sure it's in the first picture up in the left-hand corner, it's them dots in the tree. And then on the right hand, it's the lower light on the bottom is what I'm seeing in these two pictures.
Clearly swamp
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah, I think these two lights, like these are obviously orbs. I don't know. I guess those are orbs too.
Moths.
Or anything, these two are orbs and these are something explainable. But these are two different densities.
Way different densities, yeah.
This, I think, could easily be explained away. I mean, like, I don't know the circumstance. Just to be a
Yeah,
skeptic.
it just looks like there's something shiny over there that light's reflecting off of.
We could be a skeptic and say that there's something there. But of course,
Yeah,
in
we
these
have like
instances,
zero
people are
context
like,
for either of these.
are
Okay,
like,
so hold on,
no, I saw
wait.
this and it was like,
Okay, so look at the picture on the left, and you see how it has in the very back of the picture at the end of the bridge, it almost looks like maybe there's like metal poles that are up and they have a little bit of reflective light.
right here.
And see, yeah. And see how it's that angle? So it's probably this other one. It's a different angle. So you're just seeing the top of those reflectors because of the angle that they're taking.
Yeah,
the
you know
picture.
what? This almost looks like cars from
It could be,
here.
but I think it's a barrier to stop cars from coming in.
You cannot
Again,
go.
it's almost like, okay, tragic
They're
thing
goats,
happens
bro.
here.
It kind of looks like goats.
Bad vibes from tragic things happening. People going out here to investigate and mistake things for something that they're not. Fuels the lore of that specific area, and then
I
it
doubt.
further conjures these things. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
I doubt that you guys have seen. Look at that.
Now that is a little bit weird. Where's that smoke coming from? Is someone just vaping?
Not only just the smoke, but like eyes, mouth.
It was like it does very. I was gonna say. Usually, you know that I'm. What's the word? Bree? You make the faces.
Pareidolia.
I was gonna be like, don't pareidolia me, but I'm not gonna lie. This does look super sinister.
That's a
Mhm.
classic. It does. I agree, but that's classic pareidolia. That could be fog. It could be
Could be a falcon.
dust in the wind.
Also, it just doesn't really
That's
make
all we
sense for there
are.
to be such high. Oh, yours dust in the wind.
Okay, you're my boy,
The
Blue.
smoke. Okay, but have you seen that music video? It looks like Hagrid playing the violin. Okay,
No.
so
I hate journeys so much.
It's not fucking Journey. Who the fuck would think
Or
that's
Kansas.
Journey? That
I
is
hate
Kansas.
I hate
Ah!
Kansas too.
Ah!
All that shit. Journey,
Ah!
Kansas.
Ah!
Fucking. What's the other one?
Kansas and Journey are not on the same
REO
playing field. I'm
Speedwagon. That
sorry.
shit
Journey
sucks.
is for just old white people.
I love
That's
Journey.
true.
So, you guys, if this was coming from someone's smoke, you would at least see something lingering here. But this is just like a physical central manifestation.
Nah, I could run to the middle of the bridge, blow a fat cloud, run back, and take a picture.
I mean,
No.
it could be that. It could just be like, I guarantee if you go out on a weird, creepy night and just start taking pictures, you're going to capture a lot of shit like this. I just don't buy this as being some sort of apparition.
Yeah, this isn't
It
paranormal.
happens to look that's creepy.
What is this?
Now
Now
that's
this I
creepy.
don't understand. Now this one's weird. This is giving me paranormal. This is giving me weird bird with a beak and eyeballs and a very large
See, I
helmet
see
head.
like a half. I see like a half body. So like a side of a skull, the back here.
Oh,
an
I understand
arm,
what you're
possibly
saying. I
another
get
arm.
that.
And then if you want to be even weirder with it, could this be the leg? If we see like a typical Goatman leg, how it's half
And when he's like
human and then like half
crouching.
goaty.
Okay, wait a second. Wait a second.
Ooh.
Now I see what you're saying. It looks like a thing crouching, and it has like a fur hat on and a braid coming down the back.
Shit.
And it looks
Girl.
like he has maybe like an archery bow on his back almost, or like a
Why do you gotta
sword or
hit me with the
something.
braid? You said braid, and now I see the
You think-
braid,
you
and it
think
looks
about-
way
Braid?
worse. It looks
You see
way
it?
worse than I thought it was.
I'm
Now
not
I'm
gonna lie,
scared.
it looks low key like a Native American,
It's like-
but
You
like
could
even
even be
this,
bald and then just a braid.
and this is a braid. Yeah,
I'm seeing like the satyr of like the goat legs and like
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The way
Rear?
they're bent.
squatting and like
Rear
this whole
squatting,
big
yeah.
that whole big gray surrounding thing is
Yeah,
like
Right?
and then if he were to stand up he'd have these huge giant goat
Like
legs
he'd be
and, like,
super tall.
the body and head of a man.
Yeah, like this would be. Oh, I can't go.
And he would play his
down.
little flute and like people would want to have sex with him like in the
It does
fucking,
low key. I see.
I'm gonna
that
see if
there's,
I could do this
literally-
really quick.
Literally a
leg.
braid, and it looks like he has, like I said, like it almost looks like like archery bows. You know what I mean?
Sketch.
it's Cupid.
It's sketch. This one's
If
sketch. I'll give it
Cupid
to
looks
you.
like that, like fuck that.
Wow.
All
This is
right,
why
well,
none of my
going to
relationships
the
have
next
ever worked
one.
out. It's because of this fucking thing. All right, the Lake Worth monster. Okay, this is also in Texas. I believe Lake Worth is in North Texas, which has a lot of Bigfoot activity. Just throwing that out there.
Oh,
So I didn't add this in there,
okay.
but this cryptid, because it is reported with horns, but also either without horns or people just didn't notice the horns. If we were to like block these horns out, that would be like a fucking Yeti. I mean, if you don't pay attention to
Oh,
the
for
hooves.
sure.
So there are some people I think that get glimpses of him and they're like, this is a Sasquatch.
Then I think Yeti.
I get like
yeah. So
I get
there's like a
Krampus
double
vibes from these too.
very much
Yeah.
Krampus vibes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So yes, the Lake Worth monster.
And this is one that's known to kind of like jump out of trees and like throw tires at people. Do we have
Mhm.
the Alan Plaster photo in here?
We do, but let's not forget here that it is 700 to 1,000 pounds.
Of course.
Big boy.
This is the we're gonna go through some stories and then I'll show you the picture. July of 1969, there were couples that were parked in Lake Worth back in the day, and people would just like park and make out.
Yeah.
People don't do
and-
that anymore.
I know, isn't that sad?
They don't.
They're like, I don't want to make out with you. They're
Unless
like,
They
you're from,
just
like, a small
fucking
town.
bathrooms now, and you're like, oh god.
yeah, but like
right?
it's just we're not as
Thanks,
slow
Tinder.
as we used to be. It'd be like you
We're
park
not.
for a while, maybe you hold hands,
You court
maybe
each other.
maybe you
Not
get to
anymore.
a couple kisses, and if you're really lucky, you might be able to like have a little hand grab, but that was it, you know?
Over the pants hand job.
So this is the weirdest thing about this cryptid, in my opinion, is that he was reported by this couple to be, of course, half man and half goat, but to have scales
Hmm.
Oh, where were the scales?
everywhere.
They were just like all over. It was like part of him.
She's just scaling everywhere.
Maybe he was just dry. I mean, it came from hell. You know what I mean? I can't imagine there's a lot of moisture
Also,
down there.
we also have to take into consideration that anytime you see something weird, it's never like you get to sit there and stare at it for
Yeah,
5
stare at it,
minutes
yeah.
for your mind to like really see what you're looking. I think people see something at a glimpse and then your mind fills in the pieces. If you see something for 30 seconds, which even is very long for typical weird encounters, in my opinion, like it's never really that long.
Yeah.
Even 30 seconds, I think,
Yeah.
is a long time. And like you can't fully get the whole grasp on what something looks like.
For a genuine person to come forward and describe any of the accounts, like so many things have to happen. Like one, the experience has to happen in the first place. Secondly, they have to get a decent look at it. Thirdly, they have to like get such a good look at it that they can't dismiss it as anything else. Like how many fucking ghost stories or Bigfoot encounters or UFOs, like how many people see legitimate ones and they're just like, nah, that couldn't be what I thought it was. It's blah blah blah. Like people people like fortify themselves in their paradigms, like outside of crazy shit, in like real world tangible shit. So many things have to happen for people to actually come forward. And I guess my point of all this rant is like, there's got to be so many more encounters out there that people just dismiss as something else.
All the time.
Constantly.
And even like you mentioned UFOs, I think people see that too, or people have experiences and they explain them away. The question is, are they scared? Is it because the reality of something being so strange is paradigm shifting and they're afraid to step out of that box? Because I think once you enter that world, there is no going back.
I think
and if you don't believe in anything,
these people have to like, it's like they would prefer not to come forward, but I think certain personalities are like, I have to get this off my chest. Like I can't hold this in forever, and I don't care what people think about me by coming forward about this.
Well, and I think some people
and that's how profound these experiences are and how much they fuck with people's heads. It's like, I am better off in society not admitting to this, but it's so fucking crazy. I can't grapple with it internally for the rest of my life. And even if I will be shunned by the general public, I have to say something to someone.
Well, and some people get so obsessed with it after their experience, they have to figure out what it is. Like, so you have that side of it as well. It's like you think you see a Bigfoot, so now you're spending the rest of your life trying to like
it fucking ruins people's lives. Bigfoots, UFOs, not just like the experience themselves of like that was a traumatic abduction scenario. Not just that, like the obsession that people like fall victim to, like ends in like fucking divorce and bankruptcy and spending your time in the woods for like it drives people fucking mad, and that's so crazy to me.
Puts you in a totally different world.
Why would you let a made up story or a hoax drive you to
your life like insanity? That? Exactly. You wouldn't. You're only getting driven to insanity if you really truly believe that you saw something insane.
And I mean insane by the hyperbolic word, not the not saying people that see shit are insane. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
So this person, John Reichats. So he claimed that his car was severely damaged by the Lake Worth monster because apparently he's driving along and he had like a little convertible car and it jumped out of the fucking tree, landed on the car, went a little crazy. He kept driving and then claimed that it left a 1.5 foot long scrape on his car.
A $5 foot long?
$5.
Are they still $5?
No, absolutely
not. With inflation. They're like
$12. Yeah, $12, $14, 100%. Yeah. No, they really truly are.
Anyway.
Give me that BMT.
Did you guys know that a long time ago Subway got in trouble because an ingredient that they had in the bread was also the same ingredient in making yoga mats?
Did you also know they got in trouble because their spokesperson was a fucking chomo and he went to jail for it?
And also the tuna did not actually have enough tuna inside of it to constitute it as tuna.
So many scandals at Subway.
So many scandals.
Okay, but the last one was what? Anyway, these are some of the like a little snapshot of some of the news stories that went around at the time. Something really fun. Jim Mars actually investigated this story. Rest in peace. We love him. He was a great soul, especially in ufology.
Now this is
And
the
the next-
famous Alan Plaster photo.
Si, senor.
And I want to say even he's skeptical of it. Did I just make that up? The reason I say that is because he's quoted to have saying whatever it was, it wanted to be seen, which reeks of like some sort of rationalization. Like, I don't know if it was real. Like, it seemed like it was trying to pull a fast one on me.
Can I say one thing? That other picture we were looking at that was like the smoky Indian sitting down kind of sort of looks a little bit like that, a little wispy.
Mm-hmm.
The same way that is wispy. So that's very interesting. Like this one's a little bit more formed and that other picture you have is a lot more crisp. But looking at just that other picture, like that one looks like a man in a polyester suit to me.
See, I think this is the most legitimate looking one. I think the other ones look like they could be smoke or a bonfire or something like that.
Yeah, those ones look like smoke, but this one looks like a polyester white suit to me. The
mean,
way it's shining.
This thing is
I'll
built
take the
like
smoke.
a fucking Bigfoot. It looks
I'll
like
take
a
the
white
smoke.
Bigfoot.
It does look like a white Bigfoot. I agree.
Like no neck. If any kind of neck is covered by hair,
Gone.
like kind of
The
broad
spine is
shoulders.
interesting.
It's hunched over, just like Patty.
Yeah, the
is.
way its back kind of curves in.
But
okay.
if a goat were to walk upright, it would kind of, I think it would look like that too. It would have
Low
kind of
key,
I look nothing
the
like that.
flowers right in front of it look like a face of a goat in its ears. You see it?
Pareidolia.
I'm just saying, looks like a little goat in
I
front
don't
of
see
it.
it. I don't see any
So,
flowers.
I see it. Okay, right here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's a little goat.
Oh, yeah.
Watch. If
And he
you
has a
look at
little
the
white
description,
spot
it's
on
like
his head.
this isn't the
Mhm.
cryptid. This is.
That is exactly.
So
It's
I
like just
mentioned.
a regular ass goat.
So I mentioned how Jim Mars did a story on this, and he's like a pretty big player. And earlier, Bobby mentioned about the tire thing. So there was a situation in which a bunch of people claimed that there were tires being thrown at them, and that it was, of course, this monster. And then later, it turns out, and I believe it was from Jim Mars's investigation, that a bunch of teenagers came forward and said that they put on a white gorilla costume and they threw the tires themselves. That was just one instance, so I didn't add it in the story because I was like, what's the point? But I do think that it's important to remember that when we're looking at this picture.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the same photo, but there's that.
This is the photo for sure.
Well, I don't know.
I think it's
just 1969. Yeah, people came forward and they were like, in high school, we decided to go and scare people.
Which makes sense. I mean, it doesn't discredit the entire story.
But that's that's a bold, like that's a pretty badass costume if that's what they were wearing.
If it is, yeah, for sure.
They would have to be big too. I mean, this looks like a full-on hip right here. Like someone's filling this out.
I was like, this is like a big football playing man if it is somebody.
They are filling it out.
Yeah.
But because we can't see
I
the
vote more
horns-
Bigfoot than Goatman on this one, to be honest.
Exactly. I was going to say, because we don't see the horns, I would
see no
think
horns,
that
yeah.
shit's a Yeti or something. But I don't think Yetis belong in Texas.
Well, white Bigfoots are reported. That
like-
could just be the light. It could be like a lighter colored.
It could be a
red or
blonde one, a red, exactly. It doesn't necessarily have to be white, but I feel like maybe white is a genetic defect and not necessarily a indicator of location.
Not a defect, but like a anomaly.
Anomaly, yeah.
The Goatman in Maryland. Here's your
so
mad scientist.
Maryland has its own Goatman. They don't have much else going on there, I don't think. This is the one I was alluding to, talking about a little bit earlier. This is more of your I got a lot of Melonhead vibes from this one. It has like an urban legend origin where it's like a mad scientist that works in the woods at the research center.
Yeah.
Is building goat chimeras and You know, one of them mutated and escaped and started smashing cars and got a hold of an axe. Like, it's a fucking awesome slasher premise. I'm sure there's got to be a B horror movie out there about exactly this. I'd bet money on that.
I bet too. It's so short. This is the only slide for this one. And I was like,
But there, I gotta bring it up again. Late 60s through the 70s, like, this is when all this shit goes down for some reason. I don't know what that is or why, but I feel like all of these, like, maybe that's just how long it takes for an account to like build
Come out,
through
yeah.
the zeitgeist and be, you know, recognized by the culture or whatever.
But Bobby, if I can interject here, you were
Please.
just talking about how, you know, people talk themselves out of things, and also if they come forward, they're putting, you know, their reputation, their lives, and whatnot in jeopardy. If we were to go back, I mean, 10 years, that's the 60s. Before that, it was the 50s. I mean, I truly think that so many people experienced strange things, but they were way too afraid to come forward. I mean, if we were in the 50s, we wouldn't be saying shit. We'd be like,
yeah. So it's like you have these waves of people maybe just getting to this point, or we're getting to a point in society where they're finally feeling comfortable. So all of these stories are more prevalent because those are the people who are finally like, okay, I'm going to talk about what it is I saw.
Like, people just started throwing their bras into fire. So they were like, okay, if the counterculture is at its height right now, just fuck it then. Okay, I'm a worker, but guess what? I saw a man that looked like a fucking goat.
Yeah. So like challenging of status quo, I guess is the way to put it.
I'm guessing
it
it's
got a
just
little more
theory. We'll throw
normalized
it
in
out
the
there.
70s with the counterculture, and then now it's like, now that you don't have to go on this tangent, but now that the government says it's okay to believe in UFOs, like, acceptance in UFOs is all of a sudden like completely
normal. It's
yeah,
cool
and
now.
I'm just like, yeah, so
trendy.
Ew.
Yeah, it definitely, like, it has to do with like what's acceptable at that given time, and I think we're kind of onto something here with that. That's like, I guess, a reasonable explanation, at least, not necessarily something having to do with like the stars aligning in certain ways and whatnot. So,
yeah.
Yeah, the Goatman is similar to Bigfoot behavior as well. They're known for murdering dogs. Sad.
That's so fucked up.
And
like,
this
why?
one particularly brutally decapitated a puppy. Why, Goatman? Why?
I think it's interesting that the people decided to jump straight to Goatman. I hope that was the case. I would feel better knowing that it was a Goatman opposed to just a person out there like decapitating puppies. Like, that's disgusting. So who
Or if
knows?
it's some sick guy that put a goat head on and decided to go do it just because he wanted to get some weird jollies and he didn't want to get busted. So I don't know. I'm just throwing shit at the wall now.
It just reminded me actually of American Horror Story Coven. Such a great season. And that was about the whole like Louisiana, New Orleans scene back in the day with Maria
That's
LaBeouf.
the Lady Gaga one.
No, that's Hotel.
That's the Kathy Bates one.
Kathy Bates is in most of them, and I think until Gaga shows up.
Well, she played Marie LaBeouf or whatever. Is that her name?
Marie LaBeouf, yes. Kathy
or a
Bates
character like that.
Yeah, she did. You're right.
Yes.
That one was really interesting because I mean, there's a whole part where the loved one, the slave at the time, they put a like full blown, I want to say it's a goat head, like a giant goat head. After, of course, the goat's dead, but they like put it over him when he's still alive. And then he becomes a goat man.
Ooh.
And he's like the person in that season that's going after everyone. So it's like she takes a slave, she puts that can't imagine. That reminds me of a Revenant. You know, like getting into like a bear.
Yeah.
So imagine you like cut a goat's head off and it's like it's empty or whatever, and then you put it over your own face. And then when he's resurrected, he's just a goat man.
Hell yeah.
And it's creepy because it's like half buff slave and then just like a giant goat face.
Yeah.
Bree's gonna drink a whole fucking 12-pack.
This is it's actually
What are you drinking
The
over there,
second-
Bree?
What are you drinking?
this is Revision, a social fermentation style haze IPA.
Nice.
Beautiful.
I need to get off this IPA craze that I'm on. All right. Next, Cryptid, baby, let's go. Tell me when you want to
Next
read.
level, baby.
Again, Pennsylvania. We always see these things in Pennsylvania. You have the Mammoth Cave system, I believe, gets up in those parts. The Appalachians in general is creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that East Pennsylvania or West Pennsylvania down into Kentucky and West Virginia is just, you know what I mean? Again,
Oh, I need
the
to look into that then.
1970s, even Indiana. Yeah, Waterford, Indiana, or wait, Waterford, Pennsylvania. Waterford Inn with stories and sightings of a large hairy creature covered in either gray or black hair with glowing red eyes. Again, we should just drink to every motif.
And Jesus, I know.
Oh my God, have
The creature had a goat-like head with horns, long arms, claws. Look at this. Like this is a Bigfoot with fucking ram's horns.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, just the way it's built.
I agree.
Known to savagely attack
That's
humans
scary.
and livestock. Said to live in a cave on Baghdad Road. There's a lot of accounts of this in this area, in a cave under the Waterford covered bridge. Again, another bridge situation. Seriously, like what?
Erie County,
WTF?
though. Like, what kind of county is named Erie?
A scary one.
For reals.
Oh, it's Erie, Pennsylvania.
Look at this bridge, you guys.
Now this looks dilapidated and like I would not walk on it.
The other one was also dilapidated. I think I picked really nice pictures for it.
Oh, the other one looked like I would walk on. This one looks like death if I walked on it. Like I'm good.
It's just interesting that, like, the fucking bridges. Like, I need to meditate on it.
Bridges are creepy. That is a creepy bridge.
Could a bridge be a physical manifestation, a symbol in a way
Yes.
for a portal? To
Well-
a dimension?
Absolutely. Why not?
You think about it this way. I mean, you have people living before a bridge is built.
Mhm.
It's like incredibly difficult to like travel your energy from one side to the other side. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
so there's no like ethereal history until that bridge is built, at least from people on one side or the other, right? I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I get
bridges
you.
are
I'm
fucking
But I
so
crazy.
understand what you're
glad
saying. Yeah.
that you brought that up. And I love that about us. I love that we look at these things and we're looking at the deeper meanings, because I feel like a lot of people miss these things. So I appreciate you, Bobby. I
So think about
appreciate
it.
you for
Think
being
about
on
it
that
in
level.
terms of like political borders. Like borders are there. Like people are literally like it's an arbitrary line in the sand, right? But because you can't exchange things back and forth, whether culturally or work or trade or whatever, even though that does happen, there's still a restrictive border there. So there's different pockets of influences on a very
Absolutely.
abrupt. And I think that like that there's something to that in the like ethereal realm as well, if that makes sense.
No, I totally agree with you.
I'm glad I can
As
say
above,
this. and you
so
guys know exactly
below.
what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah.
As above, so below. That's what I'm thinking. I like the 420.
Yeah, so bridges
creepy
are portals.
motherfucker. Bridges are fucking portals. I think
Portals
that's
are
where we're at.
portals. I think that's
This
what
guy's
we've
just
learned.
under
He's
here.
got some honey
He's-
buns.
he
It's
is
very Princess Leia.
Yes.
stalking. Can you
That'd be
imagine
a
how
different-
heavy that is on your face?
What if
They
Carrie
look like
Fisher really looked like
giant
that guy?
turds, giant
Ooh.
dog turds.
I'm a
I think-
giant dog turd.
Now this is an
Probably.
interesting one. This is just an upright goat. Like this is not the face of a
So
man.
good looking. I can't.
Yeah, he's
lie.
like very svelte. The Pope.
Looks like your husband a little bit, Brie.
Wow.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I'm like,
Maybe you like Josh because he looks like a
maybe
he's a little
Josh is my
goat-like.
goat man.
Maybe.
No, it's just the way he's standing that looks like Josh.
Yeah, very.
This is the famous one of Kentucky. Again, we have a bridge affiliated with it.
And close with Mammoth, like you mentioned earlier with
Close to the
Pennsylvania.
Mammoth Cave system. This is one of the very prominent urban legends of the area. Again, part man, part goat. This one looks a little bit different, assuming this is a depiction of the Poplick monster. I think it's called that because of the area. I don't think it's anything.
Like popes
Special,
licking little
yeah.
boys.
Okay. All right.
All right, Brie.
But yeah, he's one of the axe wielding ones, which makes it even creepier. And this is one where one of the explanations of the legend is that it was a circus freak that was
That's the next
mistreated.
slide.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Let's go to
okay.
that next slide.
Let's just finish here though. So goat horns, of course, claws, reported to live under the Norfolk Sutherland roadway trestle under Floyd's Fork Creek. So we also have water, which is a major indicator as well when it comes to different paranormal locations. There's usually a couple things. Water is usually one of the top 3 elements when it comes to a paranormal location.
It's a conductor. Water's a conductor, I feel like.
Ooh, conduct me, baby. So yes, so
Yes.
he's known to kill his victims with an axe or use hypnosis
Oh,
or
yeah.
a voice mimicry to lure trespassers to the trestle to meet their
Wow.
death before an oncoming train.
The mimicry thing you hear about in a lot of cryptid accounts, including Bigfoot, where it's like you'll hear someone mimic the sound of like your mom calling your name or something like
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The stuff that gets stupid to me is when like someone be like, I recorded this Bigfoot, and they'll be like, no, actually that's just the sound of a coyote. Like, no, you don't understand. Like Bigfoots are known to mimic the sounds of coyotes. I'm like, dude, like we're really on thin ice now with this account, right? Like this is getting kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. and
Yes.
to be honest, we're in that situation ourselves, I think.
Yeah. So when Bobby still hasn't watched the video, but we had an encounter with what could be a Bigfoot, we don't know, but it was like it was mimicking us. Like I would literally bark kind of like a dog, like "Arr, arr," and it would make the same sound back. On recording, it sounds more like it's like a monkey, but there was no monkeys where the fuck we were. And then
I think that's legit.
Someone else would whistle, and it would whistle just like it would whistle. I didn't get that on video. I just got that one clip of it like barking back at me at video. But like, so
it
I
also
think
sounded just like howls, like a normal
and there was
howling.
howls at some point, exactly. So it's like
it's hard.
I don't know.
No,
but
I just
what
think
else-
it's hard.
Something paranormal, or was it just some animal that I caught on?
I think
video
your
and I didn't
situation
know?
is anyone's guess. What I'm referring to is people that are like, it's clearly could easily be explained as that is what a coyote sounds like, not
Yeah.
an ape
But I'm
that's
just-
trying to sound
I-
like a coyote or something.
I just think it's something to bring up though, because I think in our circumstance, if we showed the clip that Jamie has to other people, that they would say the exact same thing.
Sure. Okay.
You know what I
fair
mean?
enough.
If you heard it, you would be like, that's just an animal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
No, I
think
totally
it's
get
just creepy unless you're there and you know the whole circumstance. And then
I
it just
gotcha.
also leaves you in a weird limbo of like, could there have just been multiple things happening at once and it was a coincidence? Doubt it.
Doubt it.
Or was it something mimicking us? I don't know. But this Poplick monster, there's a couple of accounts that I quickly went over. I think only like one or two actually. or one. And it reminded me a lot of what we went through. And it's the mimicry thing that I was like, what? Like, that is creepy. But it also ties in with, if you go back to like the bridge in Texas, how like there's the baby cry, the mimic thing, and then the baby cries. We see these types of instances in so many cryptids, and the first thing that comes to me is like a skinwalker.
Very much, yeah.
Where they repeat sounds that we're familiar with. A lots of times it's babies, or someone you know, or something that you feel like you need to go help because it draws you to that. And that is creepy to me. That's like beyond creepy.
Do you guys ever hear, there's no way to say this without sounding crazy, but
do it.
Do you guys ever like you're alone in the house, but like you hear like someone you know calling your name, or you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, all the time.
And you're like, that's clearly like especially when I'm going to sleep sometimes too. Like I know it's in my head, but it's like something I heard in that day or whatever.
But it might not be. It might not be Bobby.
Okay.
I went through that a long time ago when I realized that I had like a weird sense when it came to the dead that I was always pushing away. I still do. But that was something that always happened, was at night. Calling my name, trying to get my attention at night. So just keep an extra,
Okay.
don't be like those people that you're talking about where you're just like, you just fluff it out and you make sense of it.
Yeah.
Well, to some degree, that's completely involuntary, but no, I know what you're saying. But I mean, you could also be in some sort of like between REM state of awake and sleep.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And have that influence the situation. One thing about sleep apnea, for example, is you auditorily hallucinate as well sometimes. So if you hear a car driving by while you're in sleep apnea, you can make that sound like something else that's you're hallucinating with visually, things like that.
No, 100%, because I've had times before where like something real was happening and I was in a weird dream phase about like not woken up yet, and the sounds of what was going on in real life seeped into my dream and was a part of it, although it did not sound like whatever it was that was really happening. So that 100% can happen because I've experienced that before.
Right.
Like the alarm going off, and in my dream it's like a car alarm going off, and then the more and more I'm waking up, I realize it's my alarm going off, it's not what's going on in my dream.
Yeah, and it's the same phenomenon. It's like, it's not even a phenomenon. It's just like if you fall asleep with TV on, the sounds from the TV can influence what you're dreaming about.
What you're dreaming about, yeah.
No, don't fall asleep with the TV on, man. I'm not that kind of person. I
Me either.
Dead silence
and dark.
I'm starting to get in that habit.
Yeah, I got blackout.
It's not dead silence,
son.
It's meditation music, but we can't be watching TV.
Yeah.
Look at this old ash bridge, though.
Creepy. Again, creepy. They give me bad vibes.
1875, baby.
Portals,
1875.
Exactly. Hot portals.
So there we go. Oh, go ahead.
Oh.
One of
the explanations of the Poplick monster is that, and I love this kind of shit. Again, another great horror movie premise. He was a circus freak seeking revenge for mistreatment, escaped after a train derailed on the trestle, which is that bridge, I believe. Which actually links to the legend of the ghost train, which also sighted on the trestle. So again, all of these like weird different examples of high strangeness have this thread of the Goatman. There have been a few fatalities at the site, including 2 different instances of a young boy who fell to his death from the trestle after evading an oncoming train. That doesn't necessarily add to that situation in particular was paranormal, but I feel like we were talking about earlier, tragic events such as that can fuel the energy of the area.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, a big theme that we see. Okay, so I always bring it back to this. The TV show American Gods, the only way they could be around and believed is if people believed in them. And I think that brings a lot to this
Totally.
cryptid as well. I think that that's a huge part of it. I think, like we were saying earlier, like people are showing up to these locations and believing that it's happening there. So of course they're going to go there and have these experiences because they're literally manifesting that into their existence.
Yeah, it's almost like the Nietzsche thing. It's like when we got to the point where society got like increasingly more secular, his whole thing was God is dead because there's like not enough people to like subscribe to it. So
Anymore, exactly.
So it's all about like the collective consensus is what, you know, gives these things power or whatever. I don't know.
100%. I think that's also why you have it in these very like these interesting areas throughout the world, because I think it's these collective groups of communities that are believing in this creature. And so that's why you're having these hotspots in these areas, because it's a cultural thing, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think that one person's mind is powerful enough to I wouldn't even say manifest but experience these things. But if you have a whole collective tribe or culture or village, I mean, that lends it so much more power, right?
Well, it's exactly. It's adding that extra layer onto it of belief, so it's giving it more power. You know, you think about it like anything. The more energy you're putting into something, the more big and powerful it's going to get. So when you have all of these people genuinely believing in it, it gives it power, whether we think it's real or not.
That power from that past can resonate, like we were saying.
Absolutely.
Like nowadays someone might see this remnant of some ancient belief in these areas, and like I was saying earlier, is like it's hard to come forward and talk about it, but maybe they're experiencing that type of energy that was a paradigm or a consensus of the collective at the time, at one time,
sure.
But it no longer is, you know, at that time. So fun.
I think you should Hawkzilla for show. You got the means, you make it happen.
Yes, do it. Horror film. All right, Bree, next slide me.
This is just some of the newspaper reports of the area. I like this as growing up ritual. It's just kind of crazy how many people actually saw this thing in the area.
Again, so many people are giving it its power.
Whoops.
Ooh,
That looks like the
Got it.
Wampa from Empire Strikes Back.
I was like, that
I
got
think
some,
this is my
fangs.
favorite picture so far. I can't wait to get a goat.
That's like
tattoo one day.
Microsoft clip art.
Mm.
And that's the wolf from the Neverending Story. The sheep squatch. We'll touch on the sheep squatch a little bit. So there's not much difference between sheep squatch accounts and Goatman accounts. They're essentially the same thing, I would argue, but for whatever reason, they are two different cryptids as far as the connotation goes, I guess. But
well, we're in West Virginia now.
Full of sane, rational people.
It could be, and I think we see this a lot when it comes to like Bigfoot encounters. It could be the same species,
just a slightly different version because of the area.
Because it's spread, right? They give it a different name. People see different things, which could just be adapting to the area.
I would argue if you have no frame of reference of like an ape, like so say like what is it, the gorilla, like no one really even saw a picture of a gorilla till like the early 20th century, something like that. I don't know, don't quote me on that. It's something like that though. But my point is, like, if you don't know what a gorilla looks like, you don't know how to fill in the gaps of what you're seeing. What you are familiar with is a wolf or a bear or a sheep. And that's not to say that a ape-like gorilla was necessarily mistaken for a Goatman or vice versa. It's just to say that if these entities are on some sort of like ultra-terrestrial frequency, that we could only fill in the gaps with what we know in the tangible, you know, the dimension we're familiar with. If you don't know what an ape looks like, you might fill in those gaps with a Goatman's face. You know what I mean?
And honestly, this sheep squash, even the way it is, like, okay, if I saw something that was a half sheep, half human, I would think more goat than sheep personally. Is it maybe because it just has hair, so or like it has like, you know, wool or something on it?
I
And
think
maybe
that, or
that's
even
The
like the
wool and the
archetype
horns.
of the Baphomet and the satyr is we're more familiar with that than say like a sheep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I'm seeing to me sheep squash is giving me misidentification already.
Possibly.
Probably. I mean, sheep and goats can be familiar, like can
That's what I'm
look alike
saying.
if
Very
it doesn't
similar.
have hair.
Oh, they're
if
like
you don't know, you
basically
have
the
to
same
pay
thing.
attention to the nose and you have to pay attention to the ears. Goat ears tend to go up, and then if they're not clipped, they curl a little bit, but it's like an outward curl, where like sheep's can look like this. It's more of a rounded, same with rams. So you would just have to be familiar with
the different patterns. Yeah.
right. But again, going back to like when you see something creepy, I mean, the max you probably see it is 30 seconds. So you might not be focusing on like, well, were the horns super curly and tight, or were they offset and more straight, you know? So you just the first thing you think of, and then it takes off from there. Smells like sulfur. So
Totes with
smells like
goats.
shit. Smells like shit.
There you go, more sulfur, and there's the wampa.
This is giving me
I like his little rat tail.
Yeah, it's giving me the fangs and the tail, like a muskrat maybe.
Yes. So this is the one actually in the depictions made it sound more of like a raccoon because the tail doesn't have any fur. It is almost like a rat tail.
You mean a possum?
Oh, like a possum.
Yeah, a possum. Yeah, no, but the raccoon
Raccoons have fluffy tails.
No, raccoon hands, possum tail, which is the same as like a rat tail, where it looks like kind of little.
I had a rat tail in 1987.
Ayo. My brother had one growing up.
But like,
no, I didn't. My mom wouldn't let me, thank God.
I had a rat for a long time in my life. His name is Boop Shoop. He was my favorite.
Word.
Word.
Yeah. So this is that thing, the big white thing. Slap-up encounters in Boone County occurred mainly in the 1990s.
If you want a fun documentary about Boone County, check out the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
I love that. That's why they used to call me Brain and May.
Oh, really? That's Boone County.
Yeah. I
Hell
love
yeah.
that. I don't know why I loved their doc so much. I watched it like 5 times when I was younger and we were obsessed.
I'm just like, this is true freedom.
Batshit.
I have a question. Bree,
It's for drugs.
Do we have a lot more slides, or are we going to have to cut this off before we get to the end and do a part 2 and then more?
No, we can finish this. We'll stop talking. I'll read through it right now.
Sorry. I was just asking.
Jeez, Jamie.
I was just trying to plan.
I mean, you want a time limit?
No, well, we always say 2 hours, and that's we've all discussed that.
We're almost through. We're almost through.
Hang on tight, sweetheart. Hold on to your pants.
Because I'm not trying to rush you. I'm just saying if we're going to do a second episode, we don't have to finish all your slides, and we can move it to the next. So just keep that in mind. That's all. So don't feel
I'm going to read
rushed.
through this for you, Bobby.
Thank you.
So there was a couple that was driving through Boone County. They saw a very large white beast that was sitting in a ditch along the road that they were driving on. They stopped to check out said beast. And the one description that they named that wasn't like any of the other descriptions of sheep squatch was that they saw 4 eyes. Who knows? Maybe they were drunk and
just
drunk
seeing
driving.
double.
We don't know. But they claimed that it had 4 eyes. At that time, the beast lunged out of the ditch to their car and landed on the car, and the people just took off like, and then they got away, obviously. And then when they got home, they noticed that they had huge scratches along the side of their car.
Like that one story.
Exactly. And then in 1999, there were a couple of campers there in Boone County. And they're all just kind of around the bonfire. It was late at night.
They help save lives.
Ooh.
And so
Sorry.
And they started to hear an animal snorting and scuffling around the camp. similar to an aggravated bear. So not just like a bear, an aggravated bear, aggravated bear, which reminds me of a lot of what I experienced when we went camping. Kind of like a growling, sometimes a snort, but a deep growling, creepy sound.
I have a question.
This is the
Could
one
it
that
have
reminded
been
me.
a aggravated bear?
No,
No, because there was no bears in that area. Also, it would have eaten us.
Oh, okay.
no. It was walking on 2 feet and it didn't even eat our trash that was out or all the food that was out.
What if spooky encounters in the woods are like residual energy from bears murdering things?
It could be. Bree encountered
Right on.
Bree encountered a dead spirit when she was out there.
So, they were hearing the noises around the campfire, and then out of the darkness comes charging the sheep squatch. And they take off running because this thing was huge, all white fur, had horns. They were like, what the fuck are we looking at? It was running on 2 feet. This was a bipedal. And then as soon as they reached the edge of the forest and they crossed across it, it seemed like the sheep squatch stopped right there at the edge of the forest. And in that moment, they heard a very weird crying out noise from the sheep squatch. And it retreated back into the woods. They did not go back that night. They waited till the next morning. And when they came back to camp, they saw that their entire campsite was wrecked. Like the thing just went through everything. And then I didn't include the second story because I thought they were somewhat similar. Just mentioned that in 2015, which was not that long ago, in Folks Run, Virginia, which is in the Appalachian Mountains, a group of 6 campers reported a very similar experience, like almost to the T experience.
Damn.
Which is not cool when you're camping. Like, no one wants to do that. Unless you're out there looking for it. No.
Hey, Gary, love ya.
This one was really hard for me because of all the different pictures and instances. This is the one that you'll find on like its little cryptid page, like a fucking raccoon. Like, what is that?
Bear.
The one on the far right gives me the creeps.
Yeah, the
This
way
Looks like one of those things from the Dark Crystal, or one of those things from Stargate.
Stargate. Yeah, for sure.
But I feel also between all those pictures, all the similarities as well. The hunched
But
over.
this one doesn't.
That one.
Get rid of
doesn't,
him.
no.
Get
Yeah,
rid of
that's-
him. He's like
looks
their
like a
pets.
buffalo.
Maybe he's the minion. Maybe these are like
Looks
the
like a
tall
buffalo.
grays and these are the little grays. Maybe they have the same relationship.
Like a small, yeah.
Yeah. So Pan, Bobby, do you still want me to blow through or you want to read?
Well, I have some stuff to talk about in regards.
Should I just blow
to
through this and then you can talk about it?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Or is that cool? I'm now.
Yeah,
I'm
go for it.
feeling like I'm on a time. I'm trying to
See,
get
that's
her
why
done.
I'm saying. That's why I was saying you don't have to finish all the slides because I feel like we're gonna go over.
We're so close to the end, though.
We can't split the episode. There has to be a part 2 anyway.
If we keep
Well, no,
talking
I was
about
just-
it,
Keep going. Yeah.
447 BC, the Greek god Pan, I'm sure most of you may be familiar with, in which I would like to do an entire episode just on Pan. And Pitter's Pythion Ode 3 in ancient Greek religion and mythology, Pan is the god of the wild, a shepherd to the folk, so like the fae folk. He's a mystic music person, always playing the little maybe little flutesies, god of the wild, of course, and he's always a companion to the nymphs. He's also recognized as a god of fields, groves, wooded glens, because everything is like the woods. He's like the wood. He's like the green god, basically. Because of this, the greenery, we can think of like, fruitful seasons. He's associated with sex and fertility because that's in the spring season.
Springtime, yeah.
makes perfect sense, of course. So I would imagine maybe I can't think of what part of solstice he would maybe the end of, and we'll get into that later. He is a humanoid. He's a half humanoid, always depicted as such, but with horns like a goat, legs like a goat, hooves like a goat. In the same manner of a faun or a satyr. And there are also other human goat-like hybrids.
Totally.
An equivalent to Pan was Faunus, who I have next. Oh, no, this is still Pan. Check it out.
Ooh.
Damn, sexy.
Spank
I
bang.
added this for
Yeah.
sauce.
Man, that's saucy.
Look at this. This is an actual picture here, an actual little statue you can purchase of Pan with this giant
Penis. Wow.
panacock. And this one was really disturbing. This was
Yes, that is disturbing.
This was a sculpture that was
by the
uncovered
way,
in Pompeii.
We didn't mention it, but the accounts of the Goatman is known to be rapey as well. Which,
well, there you go. Here's the rapey. Yes, that's true. Overall, Goatman going after teenagers.
he's a dog-killing rapist.
Wow,
Dog
this is
killing.
graphic.
Infiltrates you and then rapes his victims. And this makes sense if this is Pan. This is awful. This is straight up bestiality.
Well, no, because the bottom half of it is a goat.
But still, look, that goat doesn't want it. That goat doesn't want it.
I mean,
Pan is an agent of chaos. You got pandemics, pandemonium. It all comes from like, this is is he a trickster? He's one of the tricksters.
Very
right?
much, yes, absolutely.
But also a deceiver. Like this all dovetails into like, co-opting ancient folklore by the Christian church, the Catholic Church, in morphing this into kind of like the Lucifer or the Baphomet or something like that. In the same way we do what winter solstice became Christmas and things like that.
Exactly. Jesus wasn't even born in the winter.
I would just like to read a quick excerpt from one of my favorite books on this type of stuff called "Where the Footprints End: High Strangeness in the Bigfoot Phenomenon." Okay, so there's a whole section in this book called God's Ape, which talks all about this, but I just wanted to read this one part here. So when the Roman Empire appropriated Greek culture, satyrs became fauns in the service of Bacchus. As Christianity spread, it vilified pagan rituals and Bacchic rites as witches' sabbaths, orgies where evil sorcerers danced and fornicated with demons before signing a pact with dark forces from the other world. Pagan gods then became Satan and the Sylvani demons, lending their appearance to medieval depictions of the devil, horned and cloven foot. Medieval and Renaissance art exemplified this belief, classifying Lucifer, satyrs, pygmies, and troglodytes together as homo monstrosus. Apes became artistic shorthand for sinners. In Fogini's 17th century scripture, The Fall of Man, an ape accompanies the scripture, tempting Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Accompanies the serpent, not the scripture. Accompanies the serpent. So if you haven't noticed, like, this book is about connecting Bigfoot lore with all these other things. It's a big inspiration as to what we talk about on this show. European folklore consistently covered Satan in hair. In fact, some scholars suspected the folk name Old Harry was a corruption of Old Harry, spelled H-A-R-Y, not A-R-R-Y. When not a goat, Satan appeared to witches' sabbaths as an ape or monkey, a concept reinforced when clergymen referred to the devil as God's ape. Boom. Yeah. If you like that kind of shit, this book is packed with it. So check that out. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because we have these modern accounts of the Goatman, but this shit goes way back. Pre-Christianity, and Christianity co-ops it to shun the pagan traditions and turns it into the devil.
This was just another piece, though, of Faunus, Faun in which they are like a half goat human hybrid. And even though they were associated with peace and fertility, like Bobby just mentioned from that excerpt, they were demonized horribly, unfortunately. And then this is a picture of an apparent goat man that was captured on film.
Oh. Is there two of them or one picture then one
This
more
is
blown
one.
up?
This is one, and then this one's just blown up.
Interesting. That is.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
That's
I
pretty
don't
creepy.
know. That's really creepy because like from if you don't look at the face, it's giving me
Head,
Bigfoot, but then I'm
ears.
like, that's a goat head.
That's a fucking goat head.
Yeah, whether it's a real goat man or a hoax, it's trying to be a goat.
For sure. It's creepy. Like really creepy.
So let's hit it. Where are we at?
Do we want to factor sci-fi it before doing
Hell
the second episode? All right.
Yeah, the second episode, we don't need to do a second episode. I just want to do one on like Pan. I also want to do one on Baphomet.
I thought we were going to do like a full second episode on more lore about specifically just the goat man.
No, I think we can. I think that
you think
everyone
just
has
like the different
idea.
avenues
I
of it?
tried to add as many as I could. That
I understand
to
what
that.
you're saying now. I understand what you're saying. So like now we'll do one about Pan, or we could do one about Sheep Squatch or whatever. Not like a second episode on this specific one.
No,
but branching out.
I don't really think that that's necessary unless someone is asking. I don't think it's necessary.
No, I understand. I think when you originally said we could do 2 episodes on this, that's what I was thinking, and that's why I was like, you don't have to finish all the slides. We can continue this on later.
No. That's it. We're done.
I understand where we're at now. All right. So who wants to go first? Well, how about Bree? You go first.
No.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm leaning towards an 8.5.
Okay.
Only because I think that a goat man is so prevalent in lore that even if it was just lore, I think the overall belief, especially if you're going to connect any type of Satanism into it, the belief in that sacrifices people visiting certain areas hoping to see him, I think would possibly manifest that.
100%. We talked about
so
it when we were gone.
I think I'm gonna have to go like 8.5. So basically I'm leaning towards a fact on this one.
I'm gonna have to agree with you wholeheartedly and give it like a solid 9 because I agree. Like whether or not I think this is an actual physical goat man walking around, I'm subscribing to the idea that there's far too many people who believe in it for it not to be a thing. Like even if it's not real,
check it
that
out.
they've manifested
in the
it.
shirt. Like
And if we want to talk about how deep it goes into, like you said, the satanic culture, like it is so deeply embedded inside of our society that I have to fact this one hard.
Respect.
I'm pretty much on board with what you guys just said. I don't think this is some sort of like flesh and blood cryptid. If it is real, which I'm leaning towards that it is, it's definitely something more supernatural, some sort of conjured entity. The lore is just too consistent. The accounts are too consistent. I think people are seeing stuff. I think some of the accounts are probably misidentifications or Bigfoot sightings, for example. But I'm going to have to go like a solid 8 on this towards fact. But again, I don't think it's like something explainable by conventional science either.
No, like I think that we can all agree that like we did, what was it, the last cryptid we did, the little cat thing. We all agreed that that's probably just like an animal that's just not identified yet.
This is like the polar opposite.
This is definitely not a misidentified animal. We're all, I think, on the same page that it's not like a flesh and blood, human, earthly bound thing, that whatever this is of the supernatural. And that's what I tend to think of when I think of cryptid, personally.
I wanted to show you guys my antique bookends. I have 2 of these. They're bookends of fucking satyrs.
That's
that
so
He's jacking
cool.
my friend gave me several years. I'm like never gonna. They're fucking creepy and probably cursed.
That's awesome.
Can you show
I
everyone your
love
creepy
that.
candles too, real quick?
Oh yeah, I'm building creepy
Oh,
candle.
yeah.
There's gonna be a recurring character, I guess.
Yes, 100%.
I'm taking an old Chianti bottle. You get a bunch of drip candles. This is 6 drip candles in. I just ordered some more. I'm trying to make it fucking huge.
That's
It's a vibe.
awesome. It's so cool for Halloween season. I love it.
Bibby's turning full like woo woo.
He's gonna be a culty before we know it.
I've
I
always
wanna-
been into candles and incense and shit like that.
It's gonna
A
get
culty, baby.
As a
I
kid, I
wanna
would
get a-
play with matches in his room.
Oh
Not
yeah,
to be like
pyro.
destructive with it, but just to
Right.
like,
And like you need to respect fire.
oh yeah.
So like to me, fire and water has always held super sacred in my heart.
I feel you on that
Especially
one.
fire.
Like Captain Planet.
So like I don't like when people want to blow out their candles. Like that's so wrong.
She gets
I
so
don't know
mad
what's
at me. Yeah.
wrong
She's like,
with
what are you doing?
That's like Witch 101. Don't fucking do that. So like don't do that. But yeah, fire is just magical at its core, I think. So candles are just such a great additive to that, obviously. I just want to get a really quick check-in only because Janet made me think of this.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys want to see a Goatman in the flesh? Like, would you actually
Ooh.
want an experience?
No, I'm good.
Like
Yeah, I
I
just
want
wanna see anything
experiences,
at
but
this
when it
point.
comes to Goatman,
He seems like, that seems like that negative, bad. I'm almost
Yeah.
wondering if that's what you experienced in the
Is
forest
it?
spree.
So okay, so the whole like knock thing, like Bobby was mentioning earlier,
We did that.
the second part of that, but it's like you go in the wood and you knock 3 times. The second part of
But
that,
just
which we
wave.
didn't mention, is that you do that if you're up for judgment, because apparently the Goatman on that bridge in particular only goes after like wicked souls, so like bad people, obviously, because he was hurt by bad people, so he's going to go after bad people. So if you're ballsy and if you're ready for the judgment, good or bad, then you knock 3 times to see if he's going to like come and snatch your damn soul.
Totally. I don't have a movie I do have a movie recommendation, but I'm going to replace it with another book
Okay.
recommendation.
Okay, wait, let me
because
put it
it's super duper appropriate to this episode. Are you trying to put me on full screen?
I was
Thank you. Again, book recommendation. Horror author Brian Keene. It's only about 300-400 pages. Total pulpy.
It only looks like a fucking novel.
Yeah, it's a fiction, but basically the premise of this is a man in Pennsylvania is walking his dogs through like a green belt, forested area near his suburban neighborhood, and comes across a clearing in the forest in which a satyr or a faun or a fucking pan, a giant pan, is being filleted by neighborhood women.
Oh,
Like women he knows in his neighborhood.
Is filleted the past term verb or the past term version of fellatio? Like fellatio is the verb. Filleted
I was trying to keep it tasteful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know what it. Okay.
They were sucking off the pan's dick in the forest, and the guy comes across it and notices it's like women he knows in his neighborhood, and hijinks ensue from there. So if that sounds appealing to you, check out Dark Hollow by Brian Keene. Filleting.
Okay, you can unsubscribe. Good to see you, Pine. Have a nice day.
So it's the very end of the episode, so like it's not a chit chat.
And
Pine, what's up, bro?
There's also 16
name like
viewers right now.
I could name like a million different people that literally just chit chat, and I bet you subscribe to them.
Probably.
Anywho, it's okay.
I don't care. I gotta go.
We can't all be winners. Pine Cedar isn't one of them.
It's all good. All right, guys.
Peace.
Well, thank you all. We love you all for coming. We'll see you on Thursday for Only Ghost. Bobby does not have a Not For Everyone podcast coming up because his co-host is running for councilman.
Bye, Hoxilla. We love you.
So we love you all, and we'll see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.